Hey guys, it's Marshall Mathers IV here. In today's video, I'm going to be talking about the kind of woman that I would want, but that clearly and obviously does not exist and never will, especially not in today's modern age and time. But I want to start off by saying the fact that, first of all, the kind of woman that I would want, or the kind of woman that would honestly be my dream woman, and the first thing she would have to be in order for me to even want her and especially date and or marry her, she would have to be a virgin, exactly like me. And obviously, I feel that only makes sense. And I mean, if you think about it, why wouldn't it make sense? I mean, after all, I'm a fucking virgin. I'm a 25-year-old, sexless, sex-craved virgin who's been deprived and underprivileged and oppressed of not being able to experience such a wonderful, overrated, popular thing in our world and in especially American culture, or if anything, Western culture in general. Not just in this country of America, but other countries that are considered labeled Western countries put a lot of just spotlight, attention, and focus on people who are extremely sexually active. And, of course, most people are. And that's what triggers the shit out of me. That's what offends me. And it bothers me. And it really does affect me emotionally and mentally. It crushes me. It drains me of all my energy because of how much time that I personally spend focusing on and dwelling on people who are sexually active and who just have endless amounts of sex and who just get to experience such a wonderful thing like that in our world and culture and get to partake in that act from a very young age. I mean, let's face it, most people have intercourse when they're teenagers. I mean, literally. For women, statistically proven fact, most women lose their virginity at 17 years old. Really? That's fucking crazy. But of course, nobody bats an eye on it, or at it, I mean, because that's normal. That's acceptable. There's nothing illegal about that. Our world doesn't consider that to be just a wicked thing. Just a flat out abomination to have sex before marriage. You know, I don't care if people, I mean, of course I still would care, but I would care a whole lot less if when it came to people who have sex underage, if they were at least fucking married. But that's not the case. And it almost never is, because people, when they're teenagers, are just trying to get their fuck on. Literally. And, you know, both guys and girls are horny as shit when they're teenagers, and they're going through raging hormones, so they just want to be able to release that sexual tension and frustration that they have. And of course, most teenagers are able to do that and have that unfair privilege and advantage compared to all of us incels all over the world, no matter what race we are of. And, you know, that just pisses me off, because I would have loved to have sex as a teenager. When I was a teenager, personally myself, I would have absolutely enjoyed to be able to partake in that and experience that for myself. But was I? No, because I lacked very important traits in order to even be able to increase the chances that I would have had personally in order to partake in and experience such a wonderful, amazing, out of this world, awesome experience such as that, which is also, like I said before and earlier in this video, very overrated and popular. Like, I didn't have confidence, nor did I have self-esteem, nor did I have the balls or courage or motivation to be able to just easily walk up to any girl that I was attracted to, that I had a crush on in high school, for example, and ask the bitch out or ask the bitches out. And that's exactly what they were, and obviously still are. They were bitches, skanks, thoughts, hoes, sluts, all that shit. All of it combined into one. Most women in this world, no matter what race they are, or what religion they believe in, or what political party they stand for, are just whores. Plain and simple. And you know what? I was never able to bag any bitch. I was never able to get with any woman. As much as I wanted to and wished that I would have been able to and would have loved to, I wasn't able to because, unlike most men, I was shy. I was an introvert. My whole entire life, since I was a little kid, since I was a child, I have been a very reclusive person. I didn't have many friends growing up when I even was a child in elementary school. I maybe had like one friend that I went over to his house like one fucking time, and that was it. And, you know, I didn't get invited to go anywhere or do anything because I didn't have that many friends. Not even when I was a kid in elementary school. Of all the elementary schools I went to growing up, as a kid, as a matter of fact, I didn't have that many friends. I only maybe had like one, maybe two, but more so it was just like one. And I hardly ever went over to anyone's house. And, you know, I never grew up in that much of a social environment or community, if you will. And, you know, I was raised very sheltered by both my parents. And I was raised in a rural area growing up, and I had very limited experiences growing up when I was a child. And so it should come as no surprise that I would obviously have been, even since I was a child, an introvert, a shy person, somebody who keeps to himself, somebody who's not confident, who's not and never has been an extrovert, and never had that many friends, didn't grow up in a social environment or a community, in other words, and didn't have that many friends growing up. And especially even when I did have friends, they were guy friends. I never had a single friend who was a girl. Not one. And so by the time I was even in high school, when I wanted to have a girlfriend, when I was 15 years old, well, 15 and 16 in late 2012 and in early 2013, you know, I wanted a girlfriend. I really did. Very badly. I wanted one just so extremely and severely. I was so desperate for a girlfriend. And obviously, that should only make sense because I'm a straight guy, for one, and for two, when I was a teenager, just like all those other man whores that I went to fucking school with, who suck complete balls, I was going through raging hormones too. I was going through exactly what they were. Raging hormones, and I was just like, I wanted to get my fuck on. I really did. And you know, the thing that breaks my heart is that there was only one girl who ever asked me out in high school. One damn girl. Like, that's that big of a deal. And it's not. And for all of you motherfucking trolls who give me shit about turning her down, you're all a bunch of pricks. Literally. You can all suck the biggest dick of your entire lives. I mean it too. Because you know what? For one, she was not that attractive. And I told her straight up that, you know, I'm trying to save myself and trying to find a more attractive woman. And that's what I told her, specifically, word for word. And, you know, not to mention the fact that I thought she already had a boyfriend. And I also didn't even know she was attracted to me. She never even gave me any signs before asking me out on this one day before I had a men's ensemble concert. And, you know, I do respect her for trying, because most girls won't even do that. Most girls won't walk that extra mile, take that extra step or whatever, in order to be the ones to approach the guy and ask the guy out. So I do definitely give her credit where it's due. And I do give her the benefit of that, believe it or not. But, you know, I wasn't attracted to her. And obviously, I'm not going to date or go out with a girl that I'm not attracted to, that I don't have a crush on, that I don't like. And plus, you know, she smoked, and, you know, that's a huge turnoff for me. And, you know, again, I thought she already had a boyfriend, but, I mean, maybe it was her cousin or something. I don't know, but she was always around this one guy, so I assumed and thought, oh, maybe they're boy and girlfriend. But I guess they were like cousins or something like that. I don't know. And, you know, I don't feel bad and sorry for her for turning her down, though. My heart doesn't break for her or go out to her, because sure enough, not to my surprise, she still ended up becoming a slut, a whore, a hoe, a bitch, a skank, a thought. She still ended up becoming just women that are, she ended up becoming like women, is what I meant to say, that are just absolute scum. Scum of the fucking earth. Garbage. I have no love, respect, or care for women who go that route, who choose to become those kinds of women. They're not going to get my love. None of it. None at all. Or care, or my respect. And so obviously I'm not going to feel bad and sorry for her. And you can hate on me all you want and say I'm being cruel and abusive or whatever, or I'm being a dick or whatever you want to call me or say that I am, because you know what? I don't care. I really don't. Because, like I said, why would I feel bad and sorry for turning her down when it didn't even fucking ruin her chances of getting with other men? How does that make any sense? It doesn't. That's the fact. It doesn't make any sense. Because if you're a guy and you turned down a girl and she still ends up becoming an absolute just slut, why should you feel bad and sorry for turning that bitch down? Seriously, ask yourself that. And, you know, it's just kind of laughable that so many just idiot, retarded, moronic simps and blue-pilled cucks online just expect incels to feel bad and sorry for women and to have a heart for them and love them and care about them and respect them. As if women ever love, care about, and respect any of us men. And they don't. And they never have, and they never will. And, you know, not to mention the other fact that, you know, women are full of themselves. They're prideful. And, you know, when it even comes to that girl that I turned down in high school, one damn girl, guess what? I'm pretty sure that that's the only time that bitch has ever gotten turned down and rejected. But, you know, when it comes to men, us men, any of us, even men who are not incels, lots of men get turned down. And men are just so used to it. It's just, they always expect it to happen because men just normally and naturally get turned down a shit ton of times, just a bunch of times. But women, if they get turned down and rejected or whatever, it's very rare. It's only once in a once in a fucking blue moon. I shit you not. And so you expect me to feel bad and sorry for women that rarely get turned down and don't have their like whole entire life just come crashing down and just their heart break into a trillion pieces and just get so crushed that they're damaged beyond repair and torn apart emotionally, mentally? No, absolutely not. Women have it easy. Women have what's called women privilege. And women in our society are so spoiled. They really are. And that is an all-around fact that you can believe or not. That's up to you. That's your choice and decision to make. But just because you don't believe something doesn't mean it isn't true or a fact. By the way, one of the reasons I keep itching my phone is because my family and I have 2 cats, and they come to wake me up every morning, and I snuggle and cuddle with both of them and hug them and pet them, and they rub their head all over my head, and a lot of times their fur from their bodies gets in my nose. So if you had the same exact thing happen to you, you'd be itching your nose a lot of times too. So just fuck off. Do yourself a favor and fuck off. But anyways, but yeah, and I'm kind of getting a little bit off topic here, or more like a lot, but like, so like I said at the very beginning of this video, that the woman, the kind and type of woman that I would personally want, in my opinion at least, would definitely have to be a woman who's a virgin. A virgin who obviously is a real, authentic, legit, 100% virgin, and not just a girl who's saying she's a virgin. And you know, the main reason I want a girl who's a virgin is because I myself am a virgin. And I know I've already said that earlier on and before in this video, but I'm going to say it again, whether you like it or not. And, you know, why would I want to get a girl who's probably full of a bunch of sex diseases? No thanks. I'll pass. I'd rather be a miserable wreck incel for the rest of my pathetic, worthless, pitiful life. Which will be the case anyways, no matter what. But, you know, I don't see or understand why any guy who is especially a virgin would want to risk getting with a bitch who's not a virgin and therefore probably, if anything, is loaded with sex diseases. And then you as a guy will catch a sex disease from that skank because of all the other men that she's been with in her life and screwed. And then guess what? You have a sex disease and you'll probably die now. How'd you like that? I certainly wouldn't. And that's why I'll pass. By all means. And, you know, I also would want a woman who's a virgin because, guess what? I don't want a woman who's been with even one guy. Because even women who have been with one man in their life, like as a teenager in their 20s or whatever, they get ran through like hundreds, if not thousands of times by even just one guy. One fucking guy. Of course, over a period of time, but even then, it's just like, what the fuck, man? That shit is crazy. It's insane to even realize that fact, that very obvious and clear fact about our world and society, that women who even are just with one man, even if they're not married to the guy and just dating them, they get ran through and banged and fucked or whatever you want to call it, just hundreds, if not thousands of times by one single man. Like, really? I'm shocked. I'm dumbfounded. I'm stunned by that realization. And I also wouldn't want to get with a woman who's not a virgin because of the other fact that women who are not virgins suck guys' dicks. And also gladly and willingly take dick up their slutty ass. Do you think I want that? No, I don't. I really don't. Honest to God. I hate women who do that. Just like I hate women who smoke and do drugs. Turn off. Women, you're turned off by men who are shy, men who are introverted, men who are virgins, and you love to just bully and make fun of and mock and harass guys like me. Well, you know what, bitches? I'm turned off by you skanks that suck dick and take dick up your slutty asshole, who smoke and do drugs, who have sex underage before marriage and being married in holy matrimony, which is the right way to have sex, in the normal way. But our society is so backwards, so twisted, so upside down, so distorted, so corrupt, that it's so normal and accepted and popular and overrated for people to have sex underage before marriage. And that's just so very common and frequent. And not to mention the other fact that it's also very common and frequent, popular, and seriously overrated for girls to suck guys' dicks and to also take dick up their ass. And also smoke and do drugs. That's also normal and accepted, popular and overrated, and very common and frequent. And just because something is normal doesn't mean it's good. I mean, there's a lot of things that are considered and labeled normal nowadays that are just pure evil, that are a flat-out abomination, but they're normal in our worldly society, in our worldly way of living and rules and laws and whatnot. Our world is so fucked up that we normalize and accept so many evil, wicked, immoral, just terrible, horrible, awful things that are an abomination. But so many people are just so confused because they believe so strongly that what they're doing is good just because it's considered and labeled the normal thing, and it's so very accepted in our bullshit society and world. And so that's another reason why I wouldn't want to get with a woman who's not a virgin, because I don't want a woman who's even sucked dick once. Fuck you, ho. Fuck you. Even a bitch who's done that once, a slut, a skank, a thought, a whore. No. I would not even bother being friends with a woman like that, with such a trashy, washed up, vile woman like that, who's just lost her fucking soul. No way in hell would I ever bother to even be friends with a woman like that. I want nothing to do with women who suck dick, even once. I want nothing to do with women who take dick up their ass. I want nothing to do with women who smoke and do drugs. I want nothing to do with women who have sex underage before marriage. I want nothing to do with women who abort their babies. I want nothing to do with women who are left-wing liberal nut jobs and feminazis. And, when it also comes to the kind and type of woman that I would personally want, in my opinion, and what would be my ultimate preference, is and would be a woman who's humble and meek, a woman who's shy, just like me, an introvert, just like me, reclusive, just like me, a woman who's never really fit in anywhere or any place that she's went, just like me, a woman who's always pretty much, or at least most of the time, felt out of place, uncomfortable, uneasy, nervous, and stressed out in any sort of public gathering or social gathering or whatever. And a woman who mainly and mostly keeps to herself, just like I do and have for years since I was a little kid. A woman who's had either very little friends or no friends at all, just like me. I mean, even though I have had friends in the past, they were never true, real friends to begin with. So the more a woman could relate and connect with me, the better our relationship would be and the longer it would last. And I would obviously want a woman who's a conservative, like super extremely severely right wing, like practically alt-right. And, either I would want a woman who's Catholic. I mean, even though I'm not really that religious and never really have been that much of a Christian, I have gotten morals from both of my parents. I mean, as even though they were very hardcore Catholic Christians when I was growing up, it's but they kind of moved around. Like my dad used to be Protestant, and then we were Orthodox Christian, and then we were Methodist for a little bit, and then ultimately we became Catholic. And my whole entire life, and I'm not trying to bash people who are Christians or who are religious or whatever, but I myself personally have never really been that much of a true hardcore religious Christian myself. If anything, I'm kind of lukewarm. I mean, I do love to go to church. I don't mind it. I don't go that much anymore, but it's one of the things that I do kind of somewhat sort of enjoy still. And I mean, sometimes it brings me to tears because, I mean, I do think churches and what churches have and do is very beautiful and just heartwarming. And I feel really calm and peaceful whenever I do go to church. So, I mean, if I were able to find a woman who were a Catholic woman, I mean, I wouldn't mind going to church more often and even trying to become a Catholic, a full-on one, and just a really strong believer in God, which I pretty much am that. I just never really have been that much of a religious person. I've never really been that much of a Christian, a Catholic, or whatever. But anyways, continuing on to the video. And I am kind of worried though, when it comes to if I were to even find a woman, especially in today's world, who would actually be a Catholic and a believer in God and whatnot, I would be worried because, I have fetishes that are not necessarily immoral or even evil for that matter, but that are definitely weird, strange, bizarre, odd, and fetishes that are really disgusting and nasty and gross, which I don't deny. And I never denied, as a matter of fact, at least not that I remember and know of. But like, if I were to get with a woman who would be like more religious and Catholic or whatever, I would be worried, because I feel like there would be less likely of a chance that she would be accepting of my fetishes, and that she would even like understand them and gladly and willingly pleasure me to the ends of the earth um, with them. Like, I have a fetish for hot girls shitting, peeing, farting, and burping. But like, my two main fetishes that I have the most like turn on for and get the hardest even just thinking about and like watching videos about them and whatnot is hot women farting and burping. I mean, those two things just really make me super wet and just really hard, really turned on. And, you know, of course, I have a fetish and a thing for hot women shitting or peeing as well. But when it comes to like the kind of woman that I would ideally even see myself being with, I don't know if she would even be willing to do those things for me, because it would probably go against what she believes in, and it would probably make her feel like she's sinning. But if she's only doing it for one guy and one man, I don't see why she would make such a big deal and issue about it. Because there are so many sexual fantasies that I've had for years, even since I have been a teenager, just endless amounts of fantasies that I've only hoped, dreamed, and wished to actually come true someday, sooner or later, but most likely never will, because of course I'll probably never get with a woman in my life, since no woman will probably ever be attracted to a man who's a 25-year-old virgin who lives in his parents' basement, who's jobless, doesn't have an education, dropped out of high school, doesn't have his own vehicle yet, and can't even afford one, and who's pretty much a black-pilled incel and negative and dark-minded and whatnot. And you know what? That brings me to like my next thing that I would definitely want, desire, and hope and wish for the woman that I would want would be a woman who would be dark-minded like me, so that she would be able to understand, relate, and connect with someone like me better, and more so sympathize with me and have pity on me and have compassion towards me and just have an all-around heart for me, and a woman who would know how I feel and just be able to connect with and relate to on a very deep and personal level. And also like you know, I would want like a woman who would also come from a pretty broken family like I have. I mean, like, mental illness runs in my family. I mean, I've had a pretty dysfunctional family, and you know, I've known that for a long time. And there's nothing funny about that. I mean, that's a very serious thing. Like, mental illness runs in my family. My family is pretty dysfunctional when I say that it is. And, you know, I would absolutely love to be able to find and get with a woman who's had pretty much the same exact upbringing. And, you know, if when it comes to like the race of women that I would want to marry, I would say either I would want and love to marry a woman who's white, but also like really attractive. And you know, I don't I don't mind like women who are like white and have freckles as long as they're attractive and hot. And whether they have brunette colored hair or blonde hair or red hair, whatever, as long as they're hot, as long as they're attractive, I mean, that's good enough for me, whether they have freckles or not. And, you know, that would be the main kind of woman that I would want, or like, and the woman that I would mostly see myself with, just being with realistically. But I also am attracted to and have a thing for Hispanic women. But like, Hispanic women in America are trash. Like, if I were to get with a Hispanic woman, I'd probably have to go all the way to fucking Mexico or some shit. But I mean, if I were able to find one in America, that would be not only rare, but a dream come true. Like, and you know, I do like, and as a matter of fact, I love, if I'm going to be completely honest here, I love Hispanic women. I really do have a thing for them. And, you know, I have since I was a little kid. And, you know, Hispanic women are prone to be and tend to be Catholic. I mean, a lot of Mexican women are Catholic just like naturally, because like many of them are raised in Catholic homes and families, and you know, that's a great thing. However, I don't know so much about the Hispanic women here in America, because most of them are, of course, and obviously just bad news all around. And most of them are probably left-wing. I mean, if I were able to find any Hispanic, like alt-right, really right-wing, hardcore, conservative Hispanic woman, that'd be a freaking dream come true. Like, honestly, in all seriousness, I'd be so happy and excited if I were able to find and get that. You know, or, I mean, I could always, you know, get with an Asian girl, but, you know, the only kind of Asian girl that I would even see myself being with and getting with ideally would be one even from, like, her country, one who's native to her country, because the Asian women here in Western countries are just trash. You know, what's so sad and heartbreaking is like all the races of women in Western countries, are trash, garbage. White women, black women especially, Hispanic women, Asian women, Indian women, I mean, and of course, and obviously Muslim women, or Arabic women, in other words, they're really just bad news. But like, you know, and if I'm wrong, prove me wrong. I mean, tell me, by all means, please. If I'm wrong about what I'm saying, please tell me then, and lecture me if you feel the need to. But, you know, from what I see and from what I understand, most women, if not all women in Western countries, are just shitty. They're just narcissists and self-centered, self-absorbed, self-entitled. They're just terrible, horrible, awful people and women all around, inside and out. You know, I don't know what else to say. You know, and if I were to get with a woman, or the kind of woman that I would also want would be a woman who's never smoked and done drugs either. And also a woman who would want to have a lot of kids. Like, if I were to actually be able to get with an attractive woman, whether she be white, Hispanic, or Asian, or whatever, I would want her to be a woman who would want to have a lot of kids with me, but also I would hope to be rich by then, like famous and rich for that matter. And, you know, I just want to give you all a idea of what I personally want, in my opinion, and what my personal preference would be when it comes to the kind and type of woman that I would want, ideally. And, you know, I don't feel entitled to a woman. I don't expect to have a woman or demand to have a woman. And I never have, as a matter of fact. And you can believe me or not, but I never have. And that's the truth. I've only ever wanted a woman, hoped that I would have one, especially since I was a teenager. I wish to have one, but obviously and clearly I do not, and most likely never will. And that breaks my heart. And it's hard for me to not be negative and black-pilled about this sort of thing, because I've been suffering for so many years about this shit. I mean, really, I have. I honestly have been going through just endless amounts of suffering, pain and suffering, emotionally and mentally, day in and day out, week after week, month after month, year after year. And it only gets worse as time goes on and as I get older. And, I'm just so torn apart emotionally and mentally and damaged beyond repair. And it's hard for me to just be happy and to be at peace and content and accept my just super fucked up situation and circumstance of my life, because it's just unfair. And what's also messed up is the fact that I have been masturbating since I have been 14 years old in 2011, which was the year and age that I learned how to start masturbating at. And, ever since 14 years old in the year 2011, I've just been nonstop masturbating pretty much just about every day. And, I know I'm never going to stop unless or until I get a wife. And if I don't, well, I'll probably be masturbating until the day I die. And you know what? I bet women will feel bad and sorry for me, but guess what? They won't feel bad and sorry for me enough to the point where they'll actually want to marry me. And you know what? I'd love to have and marry and find a woman who's dark-minded and negative like me, who's been damaged beyond repair emotionally and mentally, who's been through years of emotional and mental trauma, whether it be because of her family or high school or whatever. A woman who's dropped out of high school, I would like that. The more so that a woman could relate and connect with me, the better off we'll be. And you may say that, a confident woman would probably be able to bring out the best in you, but guess what? No confident woman will ever want me, and that's just an all-around fact. And that's the reality that I have accepted and faced for a while now. And that's why I would never, ever want a confident woman, because no confident woman would ever want me. I don't see why anyone would even say that or think that. But, I don't know. I don't know what else to say in today's video that I've already said many times over in many of my videos. I'm a fucking broken record. I'm extremely repetitive and I repeat myself too much, sometimes without even realizing how much that I do. But let me know what you all think in the comment section down below. I'm out.